We cover all signings here at the channel, including punters, because punters and kickers' lives matter too. So, hey, if you're looking for a Broncos YouTube channel that's going to keep you in the know when it comes to all things free agency, subscribe and help us reach our next milestone, please. We are closing in on 13,000 subs. We've got some big punter news to break down. A familiar face returning to Denver as the Broncos signed Riley Dixon. We're going to break down the signing a little bit. We're going to show some love and some airtime to Dixon and the entire special teams crew because why not, right? It's free agency. That's what we do here. So Adam Schefter, you got to feel good. If you're Riley Dixon and you're worthy of an Adam Schefter tweet signing, that's got to feel pretty good. But Broncos are signing former Rams punter Riley Dixon. Dixon spent his first 2 NFL seasons in Denver and now returns. So Dixon comes back home to Mile High, and looking back, I think everyone can agree that was not a very smart decision for Denver to move on from Dixon. They never got really great punter play following that. So the trade, I mean, it's a punter, so it's really not going to make or break your team. I was talking to our Giants host, who that's where Dixon got traded to, and I was like, hey, thoughts on Riley Dixon while he was in New York? And he said he sucked. But he was good with the Rams, so we'll take it, baby. Now, we do have a punter battle, though. Corliss Waitman and Riley Dixon, baby. Yeah, we've got a punter off here, and we got some career stats for them because we had to dig deep to find these numbers. But I do think they're a little interesting, right? The inside the 20-yard line percentage favors Riley Dixon. That's what special teams coaches are looking for. Touchback percentage, a little bit also favoring Dixon. He's got the long. But, hey, if you're going off just career average, the nod does go to Waitman, who I thought last year played well. Did he look like someone who had to be replaced? No. Did he look like a player who you could improve on? Yeah. Now, like I said, Riley Dixon, if we're going to go back in the history books here, he was traded to the Giants for a conditional 7th-round pick back in 2018. I'm sure that's a move Denver would like to undo, but also in terms of moves they'd probably like to undo, I don't know if that is the number one at the top of the list. So, hey, let's show Riley Dixon some love, right? Let's spam his old jersey number 9 in the comment section below. That way, when he's name searching himself and he wants to see what Broncos Country is saying about him, he'll see that the good folks here at the Broncos Breakdown are showing him a lot of love coming back home. My only takeaway or real take on this matter is, why did Denver place the tender on Corliss Waitman if they were just going to sign a punter, right? Like, seems like a bit of overkill if you really wanted to have punter competition. If you didn't like Waitman all that much, and I think that's fine, I don't know why you tendered him if you thought, you know what, let's go out and sign a punter anyway. I mean, I'm not against having punter competition in camp, but just sign Riley Dixon and then go get a UDFA punter and have that be the competition. I just thought that was a bit bizarre, but hey, let the best man win the job, or maybe the cheapest guy win the job, and that will be your 2023 punter for Denver. Next up on the show, I want to talk about some other news and rumors, including potential DeAndre Hopkins, Courtland Sutton move. But on yesterday's show, I asked everyone watching to share the video on Twitter, tag me in a tweet, and I would give you a shout out on the next show. So let's give some shout outs to everyone who shared yesterday's video on Twitter. Westboy MGT, shout out to you. Salvi Nation, Yasim, ZSPN, Angelo De La Rosa, Santiago Garcia, Oscar Valli, Jackson Nicholson, Statlink. Thank you guys, everyone who shared the video to help grow this channel and get more eyeballs on it. You guys are real ones. Really appreciate you helping us get this channel to bigger and better places. Now, let's talk a little bit about some trade rumors. So, Ian Rappaport tweeted out this morning, as the status of Arizona Cardinals star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins comes into focus, talks are ramping up among the interested teams, sources say. Similar to Brandon Cooks, a trade would likely mean an altered contract. So, the big question I have that Rappaport doesn't answer is, who are the interested teams? Is Denver in that mix, or are they 1,000 miles away from being interested in trading for DeAndre Hopkins? If we've learned one thing this offseason from a new ownership group and a new head coach in Sean Payton, Denver has shown that they are not going to stand on the sidelines and watch everyone else have fun in free agency. So for that reason, I am going to believe that I don't think you can definitively say Denver has no interest in DeAndre Hopkins, right? Does it make a lot of sense? No. But can I stand here and say there is 100% guarantee that Denver is not one of those interested teams? I can't say that, right? They spent over $200 million in free agency. They have shown that they want to get good players on this roster and not reset and sort of go with, minor league signings. No. So with that logic, I don't think you can say for sure that they are not in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. I'll expand more on that thought in just a second, but I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor for today's show. It's this zip-up hoodie over at Fanatics. Still on sale, 25% off. Don't miss out right now. Go to chatsports.com/BroncosZip. The link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, there has been a lot of trade buzz not only around D-Hop, but also Courtland Sutton. So I thought I would show you guys the stats for these two players since 2018 when Courtland Sutton entered the league. By no way am I trying to compare the two players and make an argument of one's better than the other, because that's kind of a no-brainer, right? No one's going to say Sutton is better than DeAndre Hopkins. But I do wonder if the Denver Broncos were pursuing Hopkins, if Courtland Sutton could enter the trade mix, because maybe they could sell Arizona on, I know you're resetting, but you do have this guy named Kyler Murray. Maybe get him a young wide receiver to pair with, and that way when DeAndre Hopkins' time begins to expire in the NFL, you're not riding out there with Murray having no one to throw to next. He could sort of grow with Courtland Sutton for the next 5 to 6 years potentially. So here's my trade idea if I wanted to see if Denver was looking to get it done, right? I think a trade could look like this. Hopkins for Sutton and a fifth. I think if you include Courtland Sutton, you can get away with not having to include a third or a fourth. Now, Arizona would be taking on a decent contract for a player that hasn't really lived up to the bill, but you never know, right? The Cardinals, A1 sort of dumb franchise. Well, they did get Hopkins, so maybe that belongs more to the Texans. But the point being, I think this could be a rough blueprint of what a Hopkins for Sutton trade could look like. So I want to hear from everyone watching right now. Would you do this D-Hop trade? Would you trade Sutton and a fifth for DeAndre Hopkins? Chime in down in the comment section below with a simple Y for yes or N for no. At the end of the day, I don't see why Denver would trade for an expensive 30-year-old wide receiver. He's got a base salary of $19 million. I'm sure if he gets traded, whatever team he goes to, his base salary is not going to be $19 million. Similar to Brandon Cooks, you'll probably see the Cardinals eat a good chunk of that contract, kind of like when Von Miller got traded to the Rams. What did Denver do to get better picks in return? Paid his salary for the rest of the season. So maybe you see Arizona and, a trade partner say, we'll split this base salary and you give us a better pick in return. So don't be too afraid of the base salary contract for him. But at the end of the day, does he really fit what Denver's trying to do in the next year or two? I don't think so, right? I mean, if they are in belief of Russell Wilson getting back to his Seahawks days, totally different conversation, right? Then you're like, yeah, why not give your star quarterback some better offensive weapons? Because no doubt D-Hop's an upgrade over Sutton. But if you don't believe that he's going to get back to that status, I don't see why you would be giving up picks in a younger player to take on an older, more expensive wide receiver. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and also really appreciate all 9 of you who shared yesterday's video to Twitter, helping us grow the channel even more. Shout out to you guys. You guys absolutely made my night. We'll sign off and see everyone later with more Broncos news and rumors.